Hi, Grapes and Peas. Guess what? I love this story. It's not my favorite one. Do you guys remember which one was my favorite? That's right, where Jesus walks on the water. This one is called Treasure Hunt. Ollie, come here. Come here. You want to see the book? Who do you think that is in the middle, sitting around with all the people? I think it's Jesus. So let's see what the story is. Guess what? This is from Matthew 13. It's the same chapter as the story from last week. So it must have been a long chapter of that book to have this many good stories. Let's see what it says. One day, Jesus was telling people about God's kingdom. That's definitely Jesus. God's kingdom, Jesus told them, is wherever God is king. It's wherever God is in charge. It's where he fills your heart up with his forever happiness, and you stop running away from him, and you love him. But sometimes people couldn't understand things very well. So Jesus helped them by telling them stories. Do you remember what they were called? Parables. We talked about that last week. Jesus said, God's kingdom is like a hidden treasure. This is going to be a parable. And then he told them this story. Here's our parable. Once upon a time. Have you ever heard a story that starts that way? I have. Once upon a time, there was a man working in a field digging. So there he is digging, but he doesn't know that in this field, there's buried treasure. So dig, 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 clink! Clink! Clunk! Uh-oh. His shovel bumps into something hard. Hello, what is this? He picks it up, dusts it off. It's a chest. It's rusted and locked, but creak! He pries it open. What he sees inside takes his breath away. It's beautiful, glittering, gleaming, twinkling, sparkling, precious jewels. It's a treasure chest. Oh, you gotta see this. See him digging right there? There's the chest. He opens it up. And then, beautiful, sparkly jewels. Holy cow. He wants that treasure. He needs to get that treasure. He must have that treasure somehow, even if he has to sell everything he has so he can pay for it. So he quickly buries the treasure again, runs home, sells everything he has, takes the money from the sale, goes and buys that field. Now he owns that field and the treasure that is buried in it. He runs back, digs up the treasure again. I forgot to show you that last picture. There he is. He buried it, and then he bought the land, and then he goes back and gets it. Jesus said, okay, this is where Jesus explains what the parable means. Jesus said, coming home to God is as wonderful as finding a treasure. You might have to dig before you find it. You might have to look before you see it. You might even have to give up everything you have to get it. But being where God is, being in his kingdom, that's more important than anything else in the world. It's worth anything you have to give up, Jesus told them, because God is the real treasure. Okay, I have to admit that finding those sparkly, shimmering jewels would have been amazing. But what Jesus is saying is that God's kingdom is even more precious than those jewels. God had a treasure too, of course. A treasure that was long lost, long ago. What was God's treasure? His most important thing? The thing God loved best in the world? Any guesses? God's treasure was his children. It's why Jesus had to come into the world to find God's treasure again, to pay the price to win them back, and Jesus would do it even if it cost him everything he had. And it did. What did it cost Jesus? See, all the people bringing their treasures. But what was that story telling us is God's treasure? His children. That means you and me and Pastor John and your mom. We are God's treasure. And Jesus gave up everything, his whole life, to rescue us so that we, his treasure, could belong to him, just like the man with the field. All right, I love that story. And I have another really fun one for next week. So have a great week.